Hi, guys. This is a podcast.
Hi, Obi.
Hi, Nikki.
Hi.
You know what? Fake it till you make it. Right? So come on, guys. We're going to have a heck of a day.
We've had a good day so far.
We actually have. It's been great. You're going to enjoy in this podcast. If I were to pick my favorite part, it's the first thing you're going to hear. The more and more I think about this 4-star admiral, and I'm not going to say anything more about it, but when you hear it, I just keep thinking and thinking and thinking about it. It's like, man.
So he's just like us, right?
Yeah. Love this. I do. I love it. We also talk about some very expensive shoes.
We do.
This Chuck E. Cheese conspiracy theory.
That keeps building as a topic you're going to hear a lot of people talk about this week.
I think what it really comes down to is that anything negative you tell me about Chuck E. Cheese, I believe it.
Pretty much. But then when you see the pictures, you're like, well, yeah, I mean, it totally looks like it too.
It's not just a theory.
It doesn't feel
real.
Just like a theory.
It's real. We also check in on some kilts, smartwatches, acquired Savant Syndrome, and getting arrested for Pepsi.
Or just getting arrested and maybe you're drinking a Pepsi.
No, I think Pepsi's at the heart of it all.
So hopefully you enjoy the podcast today. Maybe it's a little bit more positive than negative like yesterday we felt. Yes, it was a lot. But we'll see. You guys just tell us what you feel.
Yeah, tell us your feelings.
Please. Actually, I take that back.
You're right.
No need to say that. But if you want to text us, you're welcome to anytime, especially if you find a story you want us to talk about and give us our thoughts on. You can text us at 877-2RadioU or follow our RadioU Riot Facebook page. Make sure you like it there and message us. Or you can email riot@radiou.com anytime you want.
Anything else?
Have a great day.
Hey. It's the Riot.
Worst of the Riot, not enough? Not enough. Check the blog and all things Riot at riot.radiou.com.
Everybody makes mistakes, okay? We all do. And, let's say it this way. If your job was baking pizzas, other people are putting them together and they hand them off to you and your job is to put them in the oven and you make a mistake that day, you know what happens? A pizza gets burned.
Okay, pizza, right? People would realize it.
People are going to realize it. People are going to get angry about it because, man, mess up a hungry person's food and just watch what happens, right? But at the end of the day, you lay your head on the pillow and you burn a pizza. Maybe the manager calls you over and you look at him and you're like, you know what, sir? You're right. I burn a pizza. But what about the 74 other pizzas that I didn't burn? And, your manager might look at you and go, you know what? You're right, Brad. It's okay. Just come back tomorrow. No big deal.
Try to do better.
I feel like at the pizza baking stage of employment, a statement like that, like, hey, think about the 74 other pizzas I didn't burn. That answer works.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, you know what? All right. Okay, sure.
And
sure.
I feel like that could maybe keep your job, too.
Yeah.
At least another day.
Like, you know what? He's got a point. Come back tomorrow. Don't burn any more pizzas. But, as you get older and you get different jobs and your responsibility level increases, answers like that become less okay. So let's say, for example, and I'm just pulling out of the air here, you're a 4-star admiral and you're appearing before the Senate Armed Forces Committee.
Okay, so a little bit different of a situation.
All right. You know what? Different. And the Navy has 282 ships. Okay, and last year, or in 2017, there are 2 collisions. Mm-hmm. And your response is like, hey, what about the 280 other ships that didn't have collisions?
Are you saying for the admiral that might not be the best response? For pizza, yes, but for ships and an admiral, no.
Somewhere between pizza baker and 4-star admiral, there becomes a level at which an answer like that is unacceptable, but that admiral skipped a couple of those jobs, and he was a little iffy on it.
Maybe one day in the past, he was a pizza person.
That is, okay, Admiral Phil Davidson, who is now the head of U.S. Pacific Command.
He actually said that?
He's the guy in charge of the Pacific part of our Navy.
Sure.
And appearing before the Senate Armed Forces Committee was like, yeah, we had a couple of collisions, but, think about all the ones we didn't have.
It could have been worse.
280 ships out there. They're not hitting each other.
Maybe he panicked. He didn't know what to say. He didn't know what to do.
It's the best. It is the absolute best. That feels like just the most like frat boy. Like,
pass the buck.
You know what? Like, yeah. Okay. So like I threw up, but think about all the other times when I threw up and I made it to the bathroom. Okay. Think about that. Nobody's complimenting me on doing those right.
I don't hear any good thank yous on the other days where we don't have any problems.
Oh, it's so good.
Aww.
It's so good.
What was the response on the other side? Was it just like, okay, thanks?
The Senate did not buy into the Admiral's positive outlook. And I mean, it was a very positive outlook when you think about it. Like, okay, we're making mistakes. But why focus on the mistakes where 17 people died when we can think about all the people that aren't dead right now? Okay?
We're learning.
Right? Like, we're learning lessons. It's a new year. It's a new Navy.
Sometimes you have to start off with an apology, be sincere about it, and not try to do that.
Oh, my gosh. It's so awesome. I love the idea that we never outgrow excuses. We're never going to hit a point in life.
You're the Admiral. You're one of the main guys, and you're still doing that.
He is like about as high as you can get. And I don't mean high. I mean in rank. And he's still just like, you know what? I'm sorry. I don't even see that in my paperwork. Did we get the same stuff? Are you sure about that?
He's got some stuff to learn.
You're listening to The Riot. Voted #1 morning show. Among toddlers aged 2 to 5. Among people with hearing problems. Among dogs who bark at loud noises. Among relatives of Obadiah. Among people who lie in surveys. The Riot, Radio U.
Dude, I've got a quote for your quote wall right here. Okay. This is something that you can go ahead and put up, whether it's in your dorm room or in the door. That's something I always like to do, is put a new quote on my dorm door every couple of days.
Or maybe you have a mirror that you get ready with in the morning and it goes right there.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Here's the quote. In general, it's better not to share anything that goes on or in your body.
What do you mean? Like what you eat or something?
That towels, toiletries, toothbrushes, and I love this, just in case you don't know, popcorn.
So you're not supposed to share?
They say, this article is saying, like, hey, if you're like, I'll put my hand down and get some popcorn. Because you put your hand directly to your mouth. I'll put my hand back in and get some popcorn. Oh, yeah. So they say don't share a tub of popcorn.
So next time you go to the theater and if someone's like, yeah, let's just split the bucket. You should not.
Okay, I love this. This is another quote that belongs on a wall somewhere. Before sharing food, ask yourself, would I share this person's saliva? And, I mean, if you're dating, the answer is yes. Because, I mean, when you're smooching, you're swapping spit.
But maybe you didn't realize with popcorn, you're doing the same thing. Yeah, or worse. Just could be worse.
When we eat, droplets of our saliva transfer to the food as well as our cutlery. It'll also be on our hands, which we use to touch surfaces. And see, this is an important question, because how many people are going on like dinner and a movie date? So you're going to go out with somebody, you're going to be sharing popcorn, and you got to ask yourself, would I want them spitting in my mouth? And if the answer is no,
then don't share. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I feel like this is all the normal stuff we expect anyways. This is the day-to-day germs and spit and stuff that happens all the time.
Okay.
You just don't want it to be the step after.
Yeah, so I feel like the whole thing, like sharing a toothbrush, well, duh. Who's sharing a toothbrush with somebody? And I'll just tell you right now, if financially you're in a situation where you have to share a toothbrush, if you call me out of my own pocket, I'll mail you one.
Because
that
means you're not going to the dentist because they give you one.
Forget about the dentist. They're $1. Let's get you a toothbrush.
We can do that.
Okay. But
that is the most personal thing, I feel like. It's very odd if you ever have shared a toothbrush with someone. It just feels very weird.
I don't think I have.
I've done it a couple of times, but only if you like you forget yours and you just need a toothbrush.
No, I don't share a toothbrush. I'll just take toothpaste and
you need your finger?
Use my finger to kind of scrub around and a couple spits, get it out that way. So, just something to be thinking about, Nikki, as we're all curling up for
getting ready for Valentine's Day tomorrow. Dinner and a movie with some popcorn.
And hey, just a heads up, if you're not doing Valentine's Day tomorrow, we've got Singles Awareness Day. Wait, I thought it was Appreciation Day. Is it Awareness Day?
No, I think it's Appreciation Day. Do you need to update that? He'll look that one. Sad day tomorrow. So you have a chance to win. Be listening. We'll get you the details in the morning.
If you guys need details about
it's
anything,
appreciation.
Don't ever come see me. Because I only wrote this wrong.
Maybe you didn't. Maybe
No.
you were right then.
No. I got it wrong.
The Riot.
They hate me, they hate you, they hate us.
Why else would they make us listen to the worst of the Riot? Radio U.
Did you know that they're making a movie about J.R.R. Tolkien's life?
I saw the trailer was trending, but I didn't have a chance to watch the trailer.
So Josh actually posted the trailer last night on Radio U's Facebook page, facebook.com/RadioU.
So is it Tolkien or Tolkien?
I don't know. I hear it both ways.
Sadder. Awareness or appreciation can go both ways.
Okay, well, how about this whole thing's derailed?
Why?
I don't know. I don't know.
Did you watch the trailer?
I did watch the trailer, and I don't know. Here's the bad news. I'm just not interested at all.
So this is not the Amazon TV show that's coming up, though.
No, this isn't even. This is not about Lord of the Rings.
This is about him?
The guy who made Lord of the Rings.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it looks like he is. We're getting a lot of shots of him falling in love with somebody. And I mean, she's not ugly. But then we see pictures of him going off to war. He fought in the First World War. And a lot of people say that World War I is where
He got
a lot
some
of
of
the
this stuff.
imagery comes from. And I will say, if you think about that, when you go back and read Lord of the Rings, it's like, oh, yeah, totally. Like you can... I would have never picked it up without somebody telling me, but then after somebody told me, you totally see it. But the idea is this is a story about his life. And so I love a good biopic.
Oh, this actually looks like one that people might like.
Well, I know, but they're cashing in on the imagery of Lord of the Rings to try to
It
get
looks
you.
really good.
Yeah.
I think it looks neat.
I don't want to see it.
You don't want to?
Nikki, here's the thing.
Is it going to ruin something? Or
the people I like the most, in a lot of ways, I want to know the least about.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe he was a good author.
Maybe he was.
If you look back, like the guy who did Wonder Woman and I don't know what.
That guy.
All of the people who did like the comics from back in the day, just maybe not life choices that we encourage nowadays, things like that.
He seems solid. And yet, for
Tolkien does? Or?
Yeah, he does. He seems okay. But, the thing is, like, for example, I really love watching Alec Baldwin. He makes me laugh so hard. I don't want to know anything about him. Please don't tell me. Please don't
you
tell
already
me.
know too much.
Don't tell me. I don't want to know.
You don't want it to ruin the stories that they've written.
There are musicians that I love that I've had the privilege of meeting, only to then struggle to love their music afterwards. You see where I'm going with this?
Totally get it.
Are you getting it?
So maybe it's not the best movie since you're such a fan of Tolkien's work, but you don't want to open that up.
I did appreciate that on our Facebook page there, Josh asked, hey, this trailer looks good. Who would you like to see a movie made out of their life? And I just want to say a huge thank you to Matt. Matt said Obadiah.
Oh, you made it.
I made it.
That's coming soon.
It'd be pretty boring, though.
We need a studio.
Remember, if you can just make it through the rest of the Riot, then you can probably make it through the rest of the week. And through the next several months. And then it'll practically be Christmas. The Riot on Radio U.
Nikki, I got to tell you that you and I could be standing on a gold mine right now.
How come?
Well, not
Or how possible?
not actual gold, you understand, but your shoes.
Yeah.
All right. You could probably sell your shoes, and as long as we got the right person to sell them, you could make so much money on them.
But they're used. I mean, they're just shoes.
We don't tell people that. We tell them that they've been distressed.
Distressed?
We tell them that we've put a lot of extra work to give them that worn-in look to reference old school shapes.
Sure.
And that's exactly what Gucci is saying. They are selling a pair of tennis shoes for over $700.
But in Gucci world, is that a lot or is that a little?
Well, I don't know.
You get what I'm saying with that? Like maybe for
Sure.
Gucci shoes, like, oh, that's actually not bad.
I don't know the answer to that, but they are essentially a used pair of shoes. I mean, that's what they look like. They just look like really dirty old shoes. And they say,
What are they called?
Oh,
If it has a name.
The Screener.
The Screener.
Screener Sneakers.
Oh,
And-
yes, they do look really dirty.
I mean, they seriously look like someone's like been dropping pizza on them. They
Yeah.
spilled their whatever.
That's so funny. It looks very retro, very used.
Like you would go in somewhere and pick them up like at the Goodwill. And they've been sitting there for a long time because no one was willing to wear them.
But now, since Gucci's behind it, that's the look.
Which
I would
tells
feel
me
tempted to want to try to clean them, but you're not going to because that's the
not
look.
the idea. But okay, like if people are really into like worn-in sneakers,
Mm-hmm.
I've got a pair of Pumas that I've had for like 3 years, and they're just my gym shoes. I only use them for lifting weights, and so they just have a very, very old school shape. That's a direct quote from Gucci. Look, and I have been crafting them
For a long time?
the last 3 years.
I don't know. That's not exactly. This is, as they say, influenced by classic trainers from the 70s. So, like, they have 1, 2, 3, looks like 3 or 4 different designs with it and colors. But because it looks like a shoes from the 70s, your Pumas are not going to do that.
I don't know. Like, did you see that? What was that show on Netflix with the guy had the red Adidas? Like, they look close enough to that.
Could you get some money out of them?
Yeah, like
That's a lot of money for that shoe. It looks cool, but it does look dirty. Like it just looks old and used.
Do you think that maybe I should do do you think I should try to sell my shoes and and just label them as like vintage, like really put the words on them and sell them at a premium?
You don't have the Gucci name behind it. So you're going to have to come up with like maybe a partner, like a company that's like, is Puma going to get behind you?
What if I sold my new Gucky shoes and they're like, there's 3 C's in it?
It's not
instead of just
Gucci,
2?
but it's different. It's totally different.
It's a very nice shoe, though. You're going to be blown away
So
by
they
it.
say it's treated for an all-over distressed effect, even though it just looks like an old shoe from the 70s, and they're $870.
I will say, I'd like to note this. Is it really somebody's job to like artistically rough these shoes up, or do you think they just have a group of people and they're like, you need to wear these, spill some soda on them, go for a run?
Well, it's the soles, right? The bottom, like those are clean. Those are all fine. It's just the leather, like did it, I don't know. Even the inside of the shoe looks dirty.
The inside of the shoe looks gross.
It does, but that's the style. Hey, you got to go with the style. You got to go with the trends. You got to follow it.
Bro, wash your shoe.
But you don't want to. You're washing what you just bought.
Get a new shoe, and you're like, no. These are new.
That feeling when you hear that every school in the state is closed, but yours? Now you know how we feel. It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
Did you see the text from Dana as well?
I did not.
We were talking about the Gucci shoe, which was about $870. It's old, vintage looking, so it looks pretty much very old and dirty for a lot of money. Sent another sneaker that is on sale that you can buy for $1,645. It's like a color block trainer. And dude, that thing looks really old. It looks super old.
That is an legit ugly shoe.
Normally, like we all have different styles and trends and whatever, but that is one interesting looking shoe. It's a Mason Margiela something.
A designer.
And that's a lot of money for quite an interesting shoe.
Enigmatic Belgian designer Mason Margiela is a pioneer of avant-garde fashion, working with other deconstructionist designers during the 80s to redefine luxury under radical new terms. Oh, deconstructionists. That's
the thing.
They're
That's
best.
the thing. So in case you're trying to go out, you're like, I need a new pair of shoes today. And you're like, what is the trend that's going to be at me? It might be this deconstruction thing of trying to get you to buy an old looking shoe.
Well, buy my ugly old shoe.
You can have an authentic one with Obies.
Yeah, well, I know I've put a lot more work into it. And okay, after we talked about it, I thought about it, and it's like, okay, you can hear some people like, I ain't paying for jeans that are all ripped up. It's funny how, like, with jeans, I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. You buy jeans with holes in them, like, fine, whatever. But there's something about the idea of crappy shoes that I'm like, okay, like, your jeans are all ripped up, fine. You buy a shirt that, whatever, fine. But, like, when it comes to shoes, no. I want to, like, if I'm buying shoes, don't think I'm going to buy a pair that looks crappy because I'm wearing a pair that looks crappy.
You want it to look as new and as nice as possible.
Yeah, I mean.
Or as current.
Something.
This day.
Something.
The Riot is an award-winning morning show.
It's literally a medal for sucking. Now that is a medal for trying.
Okay.
Radio U.
Chuck E. Cheese.
This one's a big one.
It's real, dude. I think it's real. Okay, so there is a YouTube channel that
Shane Dawson.
Shane Dawson. He does conspiracy stuff.
He does a lot of those, and I think it came out on Sunday night, and I watched it, and I went on Tuesday yesterday. Maybe it came out Monday night, but I went to Chuck E. Cheese's Facebook page, to see with drama and stuff if they were going to actually make a statement.
It's blowing up.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Chuck E. Cheese does have a statement, but here's what they're alleging, and then I'll tell you what Chuck E. Cheese says. The allegations are that Chuck E. Cheese recycles pizza. So the idea would be not necessarily that they feed it to a machine, but let's say you buy yourself a pizza at Chuck E. Cheese. And, you got a couple of pieces left over and you leave it on your table to be thrown away.
Leave it on the tray.
Right.
Like the pan. Not necessarily leaving it on your plate, but on the actual pan.
So the allegation is that they take those in the back and then they just reassemble pizzas with leftover cheese or leftover pizza. So, if you got a pizza, I talk well. I got this. And you'll notice that if you tried to slide all the pieces together, it should technically form an almost perfect circle, but instead, the pieces of pizza are all different lengths, so none of them fit together correctly.
I never have heard of that, though, before he did the video on it. But when you look at it, you can never look at it the same, because it really does look like it.
Ever. It's crazy. The thing is, the video's 90 minutes long.
No, it covers different
conspiracies.
It's not
stuff?
just Chuck E. Cheese. No, there's 3 that he puts in there.
Okay, one of the things he points out is that if you ever go in there, they have signs everywhere that just go on and on about how fresh their pizza is. He says the only place he's ever been is like that is Subway, which they have their own problems. Chuck E. Cheese has responded, and here's what they say. The claims made in this video about Chuck E. Cheese and our pizza are unequivocally false. No conspiracies here. Our pizzas are made to order, and we prepare our dough fresh in the restaurant, which means that they're not always perfectly uniform in shape, but always delicious.
Well, when you look at it, though, it looks like they're making pieces in the back, not that they're making a whole pizza, because it doesn't look like anybody else's pizza. It's hard. It's hard to look at that and say, no, that's not what you're doing.
Looking at some of the photos, though...
There's almost always 1 or 2 pieces that are just way shorter than the others.
They're not quite right. And not in a way that's the dough just didn't even out. No. They don't fit together.
It's very weird. Who of us is going to Chuck E. Cheese getting pizza? I mean, this only affects you if you're going there, and I don't know many people who still go there.
Oh, I don't go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Who go to just for pizza, who aren't going for a birthday party.
Hey, I got invited to a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese a couple years ago, and the time that I spent in there, I was like, if I never come back, I'll be good.
It'll be perfectly fine.
I'll be fine never coming back here.
I was wondering what Chuck E. Cheese would say, because I didn't think this one would just blow over.
They're just no, it's not, but... You know what? When you watch the video, and I know they're going to have to come out with a video that's just look, you can push this pizza together, and it doesn't seem it fits. Well, look at this pizza that you can push together, and wow.
No, it seems like that might be what they're doing.
It's weird, guys.
If not, they're not making pizza very well.
It's weird.
The worst of the Riot. It's like Lucky Charms, but no marshmallows. Radio U.
So, let's see. I don't have a name attached to this text, but I have someone who says, I'm curious to know if he went to several Chuck E. Cheese's or just one.
In the video, he went to one, but he ordered several pizzas, and they all looked like that.
And then Jonathan says, I used to work at a Chuck E. Cheese down in Memphis, Tennessee. We didn't recycle pizza there. I can't speak for other locations. I used to dress up as the giant rat.
Oh, you were Chuck E. Cheese?
You were Chucky, dude.
Hey, that's big stuff.
Nice. That's like being Skato at United Skates of America.
If you worked as Chucky at Chuck E. Cheese, was that actually higher up in the job rank, or was that the bottom? if you actually worked there, or was there like a prime spot that was the best job?
Dude, Jonathan, I hope you're still listening. You need to text us that. Was being Chucky a privilege, or was it the worst?
Yeah, like, if you go and you're the mascot for a football team or something.
Well, I'll tell you this, Nikki, that when I worked for a record store, they at one point had a mascot with a costume.
Did they?
And I definitely wore the costume
and people,
a couple times. And you know what? People didn't like it. Meaning, like, people are like, what the heck is this thing?
Well, I mean, that doesn't quite fit. It seems like, well, why are we doing this? But in some like for this, does it help you sell pizza? Because there's the person walking around in the costume.
Nikki, I'm going to tell you right now that you've never worked retail.
I have not.
But you're not allowed to ask the question, why are we doing this?
Can't ask.
No, you're not allowed to do that. Because if you start asking that question, it all falls apart.
Pretty much.
The whole thing.
Well, thank you, Jonathan, for texting.
Yeah, including, like, we used to get together in the morning. And when I worked Saturdays, they had a cheer that corporate would send us, and we had to do our morning cheers.
So Jonathan said it was a privilege, but I didn't like it. I'm not surprised.
There's a lot of privileges I don't like, too. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to get into the list right now.
Again, if you want to text, include your name, too, if you've never sent it to us before, and you can send that to 877 to RadioU.
I don't know if it's just us talking about it, but I really want some pizza.
You always want pizza. You're good for that anytime.
It seems like it, right?
Especially pizza during non-pizza traditional hours.
Yes. Like, dude, some piping hot pizza right now.
Sometimes it's better if you get, like, I have a pizza stone.
Yeah.
And so you warm
I have a pizza stone.
You warm it up in the oven, then you put the pizza back on it, reheat the pizza.
Okay.
That way in the oven, it's sometimes even better than when you first got the pizza in the first place because it's crispy.
Now, I've never heated the pizza stone first, but I agree with you that you take pizza the next day and put it in the oven. It's amazing.
If you heat the stone first,
then it heats the bottom better.
Then it heats the bottom better because it's got a better starting point of heat.
Wow, I've never tried that. I'll tell you what else. You can air fry pizza.
You can?
That's pretty good, too. I've definitely done that.
I got an air fryer.
So do I.
I might get heart-shaped pizza for Valentine's Day tomorrow, so
really?
Maybe I'll have leftovers.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, I always like to do that.
I'm definitely
not
getting
doing
pizza
that
today.
Are you doing it today?
Well, I mean, just, you can get 2 slices and a soda for $4.99 just right down the street.
True.
Or I could drive over to Costco. That's $1.99, then 59 cents for soda. What a savings.
Seems like you got it all planned out.
I'm killing it. I'll give them $10 for a piece right now, though.
Did you know the Riot can help you see into the future? Every time Obadiah says he likes a show, impress all your friends by correctly predicting it will be canceled by the end of the year.
Canceled.
What are you talking about? It's not funny.
Works every time. It's the Riot on RadioU.
How old are you? Are you over the age of 18? Then guess what? You are among a group of people over 18 in whom 1 in 6 people over the age of 18 in the United States have a smartwatch. 1 in 6.
1 in 6?
That's kind of a lot. Like, there was a time when, nobody did. But, I mean, I guess there was a time when nobody had a phone either.
I think we're, don't think, you have maybe the top of the line, like Apple Watch or an Android One. It might, there's lots of variations of what still falls under a smartwatch.
I didn't actually research to see, but I'm going to take a guess and say that this would include a Fitbit.
I think so.
I'll bet it does.
Because I think there's Fitbits that have a little bit more of a smartwatch side to it.
Right.
So I would think it would.
Well, this is according to NPD. They're that group that basically tracks items being sold in the United States. And they say that, according to their estimates, smartwatch sales in 2018 jumped 61%. Like, they had huge
What
market
year?
growth. Last year.
Last year, okay.
61% more were sold. And it's interesting because a lot of people, there was this window of time where people were like, yeah, smartwatches are dead. Nobody wants a smartwatch. It won't make it, whatever. And so they've been saying, like, hey, why? Like, what was it about last year that all of a sudden everybody's buying a smartwatch?
I think the prices went down.
You think it was
some
prices?
On some of the bigger ones. So, yeah, I think prices went down and people finally were going to get them.
Rachel says, she texted, I'm 21 and I have an Apple Watch.
Yay.
There you go.
Rachel, we're twinsies.
Since we only have 6 listeners right now.
There's 2 out of I got 1. So.
Yeah, but you're not a listener, so we're just talking about them.
True, okay.
We're talking, they're listening, there's 8 of us total.
All right.
So, Nikki, you're part of the other 6.
Well, thank you, Rachel, for texting.
Yeah, but I can't I can't wear a watch.
But you never had one. I think if you spend some time with it, you might enjoy it more than you think.
No, I have to forget what time it is because I become obsessed about the time and how long it takes to do something. This is a weird thing, but this is the truth. A lot of times I'll either get super obsessed about what time it is or like I have to try to forget. And I set time. This is so weird. I probably have some diagnosable condition. I set timers all the time. So if it's like I'm going to do something, one of the ways that I forget the time because I get obsessed with what time it is that I say, I'm going to set this timer, and then I don't have to worry about the time until the timer goes off. And so I'll say, like, I'm going to do this for 20 minutes, set a 20-minute timer, and then forget about the clock. The idea of me constantly being able to, at any moment, like, look at my wrist, that's too easy. It's too easy. I need to be able to not look at it.
Matt texted in a good point. Most companies want their employees tracking their own steps, so Fitbits and smartwatches are popular. And some places will buy you theirs, like they'll buy you one. Or I know, like with our health insurance, they keep emailing, like you can get one for a deeply discounted price. So they're pushed at everybody a lot.
Paul says, I'm 28. I don't have one. I'd rather buy video games. High five, Paul.
All right, Paul.
Right there. Mark says, you have at least 9 listeners. I'm 44. I have a smartwatch.
Let's see. Nate says, I have no Apple Watch. My life is empty. I need pie. Well, that's something else.
Man.
We'll talk about
later. I think
later.
pie sounds delicious.
Would you rather have an Apple Watch
or
or
what about a hot pizza pie?
You could also have that too.
Yeah. You know, I just don't know. I've got lots of friends that have them, and they, of course, love them. The NPD, their estimate is like, hey, why? Nikki said, it was prices that made smartwatches more affordable. They actually feel like it was LTE watches. And so the idea of, and I do agree with this, that instead of having your phone like tethered to your watch, being able to just walk out with your watch and not have it attached to a phone, that's been something that a lot of people...
But yeah, a lot of people are texting in, the health insurance stuff is real. So they want you to get one. So it's cheaper for people to be able to get a smartwatch.
Andy says, no smartwatch here. It's not worth it. I destroy watches. D says, I have a Mickey watch.
Hey, do you have the Mickey face on the smartwatch?
You know what, D? That's smart, but for a different reason.
Well, thanks again, everybody, texting 877-2-RADIO-U anytime you want to, or you can message us at RadioU Riot if you follow us on our Facebook page.
Angela says, my mom got me a smartwatch when I got my license because she was concerned for my safety.
She says, I don't know why.
Maybe like so that way if you got a message, you wouldn't look at your phone?
Could be, even though you're still looking at something.
Yeah, it's still distracted driving. Nikki, didn't your mom get your first smartwatch too?
Smartwatch? Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
So
it's a mom thing.
Maybe that's why I don't have one. My mom didn't get me
your
one.
Mom's not getting you one.
If my mom would have got me one, I would totally be wearing it.
And you'd be in on this study.
My mom bought me a watch in high school, and that's when I discovered my time problem.
Maybe it's best that she does not get you one.
Ever grab milk right out of the fridge to pour in your cereal, only to realize that your stupid roommate left an empty carton in the fridge? That emptiness is nothing compared to how you're about to feel. It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
So I've been talking about how I'm about to say goodbye to the stair machine for the rest of the year.
This Saturday's your day.
After this Saturday, no more climbing on the stairs for me. And I broke a stair machine this week, which is great. So,
you were just on it when it broke down. You can't guarantee that you were the one that broke it.
I don't know. It feels like it's a direct connection. I was there. Right?
Could be.
Yeah, so doing the American Lung Association's Fight for Air Climb in Columbus, Ohio this weekend. My friend Scott is doing his in a couple of weeks in Las Vegas.
His first one ever.
Yeah. So our friends from the American Lung Association are here. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Morning.
We were not expecting you.
It's a surprise.
Okay, so what are we doing?
So, we don't have anything going on this week, and we're just, not working late and just kind of hanging out in Westerville and all of that. But so after, if you remember the last time we were here, we talked about the possibility of you wearing a kilt.
Yeah.
So when he does,
is that
when
what
he
this
does
is?
the
Is this a
call?
kilt?
Actually, this is really fun, Obi. This is your own kilt to keep.
Really?
So we wrote the company, told them what you were doing. We may have shared the photo.
Okay.
And this is actually, so this is special. So, one time you did wear a firefighter, uniform, correct?
I did, yeah.
This is a firefighter kilt.
Oh,
So that's the tartan is firefighter is what it's called.
And it's a sport
And
kilt.
yes, so that's the brand sport kilt.
And it's an extra large.
Little roomy.
So actually the man looked at your picture and was able to figure out what size you were.
He was like,
He's profiling him.
he's like, that dude is too fat for that.
No.
Dude, this is awesome.
So you're going to wear it on Saturday?
Oh, heck yeah.
You're going to do it?
I will tell you, like, I'm probably going to wear some shorts with it.
Well,
I gotta
there's
have
some pants.
You know, but yeah, like, dude, I got my own kilt now. Do you know how awesome this is?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this one fits a lot better. I'm not going to lie to you.
The other one was not as roomy for him. Oh, that looks nice. I love the firefighter, like the.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, I love the color with it.
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Don't
Looks
worry,
good?
we'll take a picture for you all to see.
I think it's fantastic.
Yay!
I have my own kilt.
You never had one before.
Well, you know what? I've always wanted one. I mean, maybe not always, but yeah. And then look, sport kilt.
What comes with that? Is that a card? Or?
These are koozies.
Oh,
We brought you one, Nikki. We brought you a koozie.
thank you.
Yeah.
I thought for a second, like, is that like a cuff you wear on your arm or a bracelet or what
You know,
is
a
it?
little cut right there.
And you could wear that
Sure.
too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
All
nice
right.
of the company.
Awesome. Well, I got a sport kilt, everybody, so look out.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Ooh, man.
Maybe you could do the Radio U 5K.
Let's not make any pronouncements. But
I'm
like,
dressing you for the whole year.
Why not?
no, we'll see, okay? If you're good.
Oh, that was super sweet of them, though. Thank
Yeah.
you guys for doing that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, all right, I am with Kilt, and I'm going to be doing my climb this weekend. Now, I met my donation goal, but if you want to learn some more about it, RadioU.com/Ohio,
That
actually.
way you can find out about Team Radio U, which Obi will be the lead, and you'll not be able to miss him because he's the one wearing that kilt.
I actually always go last.
Oh,
so
you do?
that way,
Just-
because my thing is I don't want anybody from our team passing me. So that way I'm always the last one, and I don't have to worry about it.
They can't pass you when you're behind, so
That's
it's
exactly
fine.
right.
That's very smart.
Exactly right. Come on. Come on.
Well, thank you guys for bringing that in for us.
Thank you so much.
For real, though, this is awesome. Like, awesome.
The Riot.
Apparently, some of the less athletic types go nuts for this stuff.
Radio U.
Nikki, I want you to hold still. I want to hit you in the head with something.
Oh, yeah, please do.
Actually, face the wall, because I think I need to hit you in the back of the head.
Okay, great.
And that way, if this doesn't work,
I'll just fall into the wall.
yeah, it won't be as big
fine.
of a deal. I'm looking at the story of a man here by the name of Derek Amato. Derek has acquired Savant Syndrome. I want acquired Savant Syndrome. Now, I don't want the massive head injury that he had to have to get it, but he was in a, what is it, like he fell off of something? No, he dove into the shallow end and hit the bottom of a pool.
Ooh.
And he ended up hurting himself, and he's recovered now. And one day he was just at a friend's house who had a piano, and he was like, hey, piano. And then he was like, Beethoven!
He could just play it?
Incredibly well.
Really? Oh, wow.
Acquired Savant Syndrome. So what's funny is he cannot understand, like he can't read music.
Yeah, but he can
But-
just play it.
He can basically play anything.
So, like, if he hears it too, he can play it back.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I've always could have had that with, like, languages. You know, you hear how someone, and you wouldn't want this, but, like, they say they've been in a coma and, like, they wake up and they suddenly speak another language. It's like,
Yeah.
how did it get in there?
See, you know what my thought is? I mean, don't you think we probably all have that? We just can't access it. Like, there's something that, like,
Probably.
something in our brain that it
Would-
just doesn't work.
It's like it knows it all. It knows more than we think we do. We just can't unlock it.
Have you ever seen, what was that movie with Bradley Cooper in it?
The
where it was
pill
like,
one?
Yes.
Yeah, the Limitless or
Limitless. That was it.
because it had a TV show
It
too.
did.
Yeah,
You're right. It was. I didn't see the whole movie. I only saw like the first half of it or something. But there was a great moment where he's like somewhere and he's going to get in a fight, and he's like, I don't know how to fight. And then he goes, wait a minute. Don't I? And then as he's fighting these guys, he's just remembering all of the fights he's seen, like basically all the movies he's seen his entire life. And he's like, wait, I know how to do this. I want to be like that.
I know, but we don't want to go through all the other stuff.
I
With
don't want
that.
to go through it necessarily. Now, I'll go through head trauma if you can guarantee me that I'm going to come out with something really good.
Something really special at the
Yeah.
end. I don't know. Then it's also hard too because you have someone on one side who's like studied languages for years and years and years, and then you got this other person who's like, nope, I just know it, or I can just play the piano beautifully.
Yeah,
and then
I mean,
someone
so-
else over here
so
just
much
can't
better
get it.
than you can.
Yeah, and you've trained your whole life. You've been trying since your mom made you.
Man, I want to be instantly awesome at something with no work whatsoever.
That's really deep down what we're looking for.
That's what I want.
And you see someone who got that.
I know. I don't want to put in the time or the effort or anything like that. I just want to be good at it. And I want to find a way to monetize it so I can live the easy life, working very little.
There's the second part of it.
And indulging my every whim.
Okay. So that's your laundry list of what you would like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't say I don't know what I want.
He's driven.
Some people wander through life just not knowing what they're looking for.
And you know.
I am looking for that. Instant fame, very little work, lots of money.
The Worst of the Riot box set is now available nowhere because we know you wouldn't want it anyway. It's The Worst of the Riot on Radio U.
So, Nikki, I was talking a few minutes ago about my great desire to become fabulously talented and independently wealthy really overnight.
Yeah, so not having to put in the training.
Yeah, no work, no anything like I just want to let's just get started on the good stuff right away. And that happened to somebody by the name of A. Campbell in Jamaica. They just won the Super Lotto in Jamaica.
What do they get?
Well, $158 million.
Real money?
Yes, real money. $158 million U.S.
Now, take out some stuff like taxes and all that. And then I know you can choose if you want a lump sum, which is smaller, or do you want it like over time?
I don't know how this person,
I think that's how the lotto works,
did it. But I do know this, that it's the law in Jamaica that you have to show up and get your picture taken and stuff with your winning check.
Yeah.
But it's not the law that you have to show your face. And so the person who just won the lottery there showed up in a Scream mask, like from the show, a pair of gloves, and a big like plastic apron looking thing.
That's actually very smart. And does anybody know why they don't want to show their face, even though it's your name's being told? But
it's only it's your last name, so it's very possible that
there's others that have that name. But
right.
You do not want people finding out you're the one that won over $100 million.
Right.
Because they're going to come after you, not even just like to rob you, but mostly because they're just going to bother you for money for the rest of your life. If you ever talk to somebody who's won a lottery, then like their lives can become miserable after it.
Yeah, because everybody they know comes at
family
them for
and
money.
Friends and strangers and charities and organizations.
Yeah. So
you don't want them to know who you are.
I feel like I'd be willing to try that out, though, like the burden of it.
Yeah, but we've read and we've seen documentaries. For a lot of people who win big for lotteries, their life goes down the drain. They lose all their money or they spend all their money.
But see, here's the thing, Nikki. I have over time developed a discipline about how I have so little money that I have to parcel it out.
Sure.
If I could apply those disciplines to a large sum of money,
that's true.
I think I'd be just fine. I mean,
everybody says that though going into it, and then they're broke before you know it.
Then it's crazy.
And they're like, "How did you go through $100 million?"
So, I'd keep this job, but only this part of it.
How about if you kept the job?
Every other single responsibility I had that was not related to the riot would be gone.
How about you did that and
I
maybe
would never go to another meeting.
You could hire me outside riot hours to be like your flag person. I'd say, okay, hold up the flag, don't do that, and I could keep your money safe.
That's fine, but I want you to know, and I mean this, that 85-inch TV that I was looking at,
that's worth
it. You can wave as many flags as you want. As many as you want. It's coming home.
See, that's fine. But if you're like, I need 8 houses, that's when people start to lose focus with all their money. Like, you don't need 8 houses. Even if you're saying it's for real estate, you don't need it.
I appreciate that statement.
So that's what I'd warn you.
That's what you need. You're just like, what? Because, there are different sides of town, and I want to be able to stop in and take a nap at any moment.
But if you want that large TV, I know you'll use that. That's actually a good purchase.
That's right.
Keeps you in your one house.
I'm also going to buy a new graphics card, because I got to have something to drive that
You know
TV
what?
with.
You're approved then.
Okay.
I know. You hate the riot. Why are they on the radio?
Stupid. Yeah.
Honestly, we can't trust them with anything else. It's the riot on Radio U.
Okay, Nikki.
Yeah?
What does that water bottle communicate about you? But have you thought about this? Like, what does your soda choice communicate about you?
I bet it says something.
That's something I understand.
That's because you're more confident in your soda choice.
You're speaking my language when we start talking about soda choice and what it communicates about your personhood. Because obviously, if you're drinking a Pepsi, you're lower on the list.
Allegedly.
No, that's confirmed. That's confirmed. Pepsi.
Don't mind us if you like Pepsi. We just never got into Pepsi or Diet Pepsi. We just can't do it.
Pepsi drinkers are dumber, uglier.
No, that's not true. That's not true. It's just a different taste that we're not into.
Yeah, okay. I see what you're trying to do, and I appreciate it, and I'm sure they do too. But, Nikki, these people aren't going to get the help they need by beating around the bush. Like, somebody's got to get right in their face with some truth. And then when they hear the truth, they might feel shame at first, but that shame is going to push them towards transformation.
And
Things
changing.
are going to change.
Yes, okay.
They're going to say to themselves, Obadiah, you're right about me. What can I do? But that's a story for another time, Nikki, because this is simply the story of a man in Sebastian, Florida, Brevard County. He was pulled over by county law, and he was speeding. They pulled him over like, what? He's like, I'm so thirsty. I'm on my way to get a Pepsi.
That's what he said?
See what Pepsi drinkers do?
Oh, they speed and break the law.
And they were like, you know what? Just hang on 1 second. We're going to take a look at your license. He had been given a speeding ticket less than an hour before.
Well, is he thirsty again, or?
Well, Nikki, sometimes they're just out of Pepsi. You got to get where you got to go.
You have to go to the bathroom, or?
Yeah, so they ended up putting him in jail.
Do you get to go to jail if you get 2 tickets? For the speed of, like, what he was doing?
I don't know. I don't have a lot of details there, but that's a good question. Do you go to jail is it like 2 tickets in 2 hours?
Is it a 24-hour rule? We don't know enough about law.
Here's the truth. You guys ready? The arresting officer was like, he said he wanted Pepsi. Come with us.
That's code for just arrest me now.
Just, you know what?
Take me to jail.
This is a cry for help, actually. It's not, the speeding's not the problem, sir. All right? It's not the problem. It's the Pepsi thing.
So he has to go in and get a couple of days detoxing off Pepsi?
Yeah, he's got to do community service. And then, of course, he's got to go into a treatment program for Pepsi drinkers. And, then after that, I'm sure that he'll be released and hopefully he'll make some better choices.
Okay, well, I think it was also just his speeding. If it was so impressive and he did it more than once, then they're going to take you in.
Well, all right, Nikki. I mean, go on believing what you need to. I'm trying to get people help. That's all. Okay?
This was the worst of the riots, and we'd like to congratulate you on having the stomach to stick around to the very end. The Riot exists because RadioU exists, and RadioU only exists because of your support. Find out more and give now at RadioU.com/donate.
I'll tell you, if you're looking for some good American heroin, I know some people.